I'm a mess. Don't know how I got here, but I'm blessed. Didn't know it'd take me past my destiny. You're behind me with the rest, 'cause I'm a mess. No more you.
And I go home. You said things could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. How can I believe you when everything is secret, secret? Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret. How can I believe when everything is secret, secret? You see through, gotta make space for the new you, like I'm old news in your rearview mirror. It must be nice, you went and got a penthouse, all your friends partying, it's real loud. Brand new money with a brand new chest, still a baby bird price right off the nest like you. Could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. How can I believe you when everything is secret, secret? Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret. How can I believe when everything is secret? I go home. You said things could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. Home. You said things could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. How can I believe you when everything is secret, secret?
How can I believe
Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret, secret. Everything is secret. How can I believe when everything is secret, secret?
you ain't gotta be so see-through. You ain't gotta be see-through, see-through, yeah. You ain't gotta be so see-through. You ain't gotta be see-through, see-through, yeah.
Yo, what's going on, yo? Felon, what's up with you, man? You all right? Yes, so
Hey,
you
everybody.
guys.
This is Puncho DK Cancel Kings Live. Hopefully, everybody's doing okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got a pretty cool show for you guys. DK, you want to go ahead and get us started, and then we can go from there?
Yeah. Let's definitely open us up in prayer, Lord. I just want to say, Lord, we just thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, Lord. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to come on here together and have good conversation, Lord. To see you even in politics, Lord, because we know that you're in all places, Lord. So we just want to learn to do the right thing by following you, Lord. So we want our values to line up with you. And Lord, if you can just show us, guide us, lead us in the way that we should go, Lord. So Lord, I just want to say that I love you and I thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So we did a previous podcast, which was part one to this conversation, just kind of testing the waters to see where everybody was with it. And we were talking about the topic of, do you vote blue no matter who? and this is kind of a shot across the bow for a lot of people who are Democrats, have been Democrats for decades, if not there, for generations. And does that mean that we vote for Kamala Harris no matter what? I think that's kind of the sentiment in the community. And as a man and as a man of God, you kind of start scratching your head a little bit and like, is this the right thing for us to do? In every situation. Trump definitely has his problems, but the mad dash to just vote for someone who may not have our best intentions in mind or any of our intentions in mind as men, especially men of color, is it the right thing to do just to vote blue? What are your thoughts on that, DK?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should vote nothing, no matter who. You know, what I mean, I think should look at each candidate. You know, what I mean, no matter what it is. You know, what I mean, whether it's red, blue. But see where their values are, and if their values, line up with yours, then I think that's how you should vote. But hey.
Mm. Now, depending on where you guys are during the broadcast, if you're on YouTube, you will see a link where you can join the live panel if you would like to. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we'll see that on YouTube and on Cancel Kings on our Facebook page. But if you do it from our individual personal pages, we may not see that. So feel free to leave your comments on YouTube, Cancel Kings, and we will get to those. We will prioritize those if you have any comments. So going back to that, DK, one of the first things that we were talking about is overall, like, is there a cultural pressure to vote Democrat, especially in the Black community? Do you think that that's kind of, going to an all-time high at this point?
For sure. You have to vote. You have to vote blue. If you're Black, for the most part, the pressure is for you to vote blue. And if you don't, you're labeled as some type of sellout or Uncle Tom, whatever new name they come out with. But, and it's a shame, when you really just look at that, just as Americans, period, you should have the freedom to vote for whoever you want to without being pressured because you have a certain demographic.
Yeah, I think that there has always been this idea that you're going to be excluded from the culture if you don't vote a certain kind of way, especially Black culture. I'm not sure if it's the same. We got a lot of white brothers on here too, so we want to hear what they got to say too, because a lot of white folks grew up. We're both Midwesterners, and we all come from a steel mill and the Rust Belt, and we all grew up as Democrats for the most part. And the idea is you got to keep that going because the Republicans ain't got nothing for you. They're a bunch of racist fat cats that are rich. But I want to pull up a video real quick that kind of exemplifies that idea that you have to vote. You have to vote blue no matter who, or there could be a cultural repercussion for it. We're going to start out with a clip with Joe Biden and Charlemagne, and then we're going to start talking about what Joy Reid, who's an MSNBC contributor, had to say about the same topic. So let's take a look at this real quick, guys.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't Black.
So now MSN. So just think about that. Now that went viral, right? And he's saying that if you don't vote according to how he thinks you should vote, you're not a Black person. Now that's bold to say, especially for a man, that's not melanated. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that real quick? And we also have Rob on here too. Guys, go ahead and jump in, leave comments, whatever the case may be. We'll get to those. But we got President Joe Biden saying that you're not a Black person if you don't vote Democrat. What do you think about that, DK?
I mean, we talked about this, a couple times. It's just ignorant. You know what I mean? It's just ignorant that, he's trying to make feel like, hey, if you don't do that, something's wrong with you. Like you can't think for yourself. if I want to vote Democrat, I want to vote Democrat because I want to. I don't want. I shouldn't have to vote Democrat because I'm of a certain demographic. I just think is just ignorant and really irresponsible for him to say.
Mm. Yeah, it does kind of undermine, the idea that not all black people are the same. Black people are all over the country. We have different experiences, different economic, levels that we're at, different social and spiritual levels. To say that to be black, you have to vote Democrat is a very profound thing, and I think it says a lot. But it's not just Joe Biden that said that. There's also Joy Reid that said the same thing.
NBC's Joy
Take a look.
Reid taking a cue from the last Biden campaign, saying that black voters will look, quote, real weird if they don't vote for Kamala Harris. So watch this.
You're going to look real crazy being on the other side of that line, particularly as a person of color, but really as anyone who claims to have any connection to the culture.
Now, she's saying that you're going to be excluded from the culture if you vote blue. If you don't vote blue.
Okay, so
And
how can she exclude me from the culture? How can she? Who certified her to do that?
I think the idea is, you know what comes to mind, Rob? I don't know if you guys have seen that Key and Peele skit where they're making fun of black Republicans. They got the blue jeans on and the Vans shoes or the New Balance shoes, and all wearing the same kind of polo shirt, and they all think a certain kind of way. And she's saying it seems like if you think any way otherwise to how Democrats think, then you're going to be excluded from the culture. You're not going to get, access to the family reunion. You can't come to the barbecue, and you're going to be excluded. Beyonce is behind this. All the hot celebrities are behind this. You're going to be looking a certain kind of way if you're not voting blue.
But who knows what the hell I vote? Who knows what I vote? Who knows that?
Maybe it's a scare tactic. I don't know. Let's see what else she has to say. This is a short clip, but let's see what she has to say further.
Particularly as a person of color, but really as anyone who claims to have any connection to the culture. You're going to look real weird and real lonely on that side.
So let's turn to Fox News contributor.
So she's basically saying that if you're not voting blue, you're going to be looking really weird, and you're going to be looking real lonely. Like, we're going to excommunicate you from the culture. We got the panel starting to file in here now. What do you guys think about that? Let's start out with Jay, and then Los and Maurice. And if you don't have anything, we'll just move on to the next person. But Jay, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that you're going to lose access to the cookout if you don't vote blue?
I don't think you'll lose access to the cookout, but I just think that, we just got to make sure we're doing our research, and when we're voting that, we're voting for what's best for us and, the community and our people and everything like that. I think it gets real, rough when it comes to decision, when it comes to choosing sides, but it's rough, man. You can't get thrown out the black community all because of your opinion and how you may carry that, but it's rough though. They are throwing people out though. Over this election. They are trying to throw us out. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just yesterday, I had a conversation, with some of my friends and cousins, and then, somebody jumped in, it was a couple older ladies, and, and they were black, and, I guess someone said, we wasn't voting, or I wasn't voting for Harris or whatever. They looked at me like I was crazy. Now, we had a good conversation, you know what I mean? And we were, cordial about it. It was a long one, but it was, just that, that initial look like, what? You mean you're not going to vote for Harris? I mean, I don't have to, you know what I mean? And you don't have to look at me like they was looking at me like I had stole something from them. You know what I mean? It was weird. You know what I mean? It's weird that if you sway away from the norm, you know what I mean, in the black community, especially when it comes to politics, you know what I mean, and especially if you're outspoken. Yeah, I heard one brother said, how do they know who you vote? Yeah, that's fine. If they don't know, then they're fine. But if you express and say, hey, you guys should really look at this before you just vote, then that's when the attitude comes out. That's when the cancel kings come out. Yeah, I mean, that's when we
So,
get
Los, what
canceled.
are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's possible to get excommunicated from the black community because you're not voting for a political candidate?
It sounds like it's definitely about supporting oneself, supporting your own culture. You don't want to go over there and not vote against the tradition. Like you are voting for Donald Trump, the traditional white president. You, it seems like they're saying if you vote for Donald Trump and things go silly, it's good. You're gonna have it backfire you. You went against your culture. You know.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure. Red Nightwalker, make sure you hook up your audio system if you want to comment. Um, yeah, and Rob, you also mentioned something along those lines. I want to throw another real quick question across the bow here. What happens when you tell people you're not voting blue? It could be Clinton versus, Bush or something. Hey, I'm not voting for Clinton. I'm not just saying Kamala. But what happens? What's been your experience, DK, and other folks, when you haven't voted the party line? Or is it just a Trump thing, like Carlos was saying?
I think the main thing they bring to the table is that really throws them off is how come you're voting for the other party? Like, why? And I think as long as you just come with some information, you come in with some reasonable facts, then you can have a debate. Not a debate, but you can have a sit down talk about each party and each sides and everybody's views and feelings about it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and Jay, I agree with you 100%, man, and that's what I try to do. I try to educate people on different things. We vote, maybe because our parents did it and their parents did it, so that's how we just got stuck with it. Back to Lyndon Johnson when he said, "I'll have these N-words voting for me, vote Democrat for the next 200 years." You know what I mean? So he didn't really care about us. All he really cared about was our vote. You know what I mean? They don't really care about our community. But when you really, talk to people, but there's a limit, right? Because to me, I think once you've been indoctrinated into the, Democratic Party for so long, those people that I talk to like that who are older, no matter what I say, you know what I mean, I can tell them the sky is blue, and they're like, no, the Democrats said it was red, and it'll just be red. You know what I mean? No matter what I say, you know what I mean? No matter how much I try to prove, how much, because if you really look at the Democratic Party, you know what I mean, especially its roots in its beginning, it definitely wasn't the party for blacks. It wasn't a party for African Americans. It wasn't the party for people of color at all. You know what I mean? They're the ones who suppress us. They're the ones who, were part of the KKK and the Jim Crow. All of that is a Democratic Party, but they are fooling us to what it is today. And yes, it might not be Jim Crow, and yes, it might not be slavery, but it's a different type of slavery, a different type of Jim Crow. But they dress it up in whatever, welfare, free housing, this and that. You know what I mean? Basically give you a little bit, but never let you reach your full potential. And that's what the slaves did. You know what I mean? They, you live in a house, you got to do a little extra things, and it felt good, and you didn't want to run away from the master. You know what I mean? It was cool to stay on a plantation because it was good there, because you didn't know nothing else.
So DK, so you're saying a lot of people have a plantation mindset. Is kind of what you're saying? Do you think that Republicans are any better when it comes to that? Do you think Republicans are still this abolitionist, anti-race party?
Yeah, right. So and no, I don't think though. But I don't think that. But what I do, but the difference is that the Democrats act like that they're doing something for us, You know what I mean? Which is just not true. They're just trying to get our votes. So at least let me make an educated vote, whether it's Democrat or Republican. But don't force me to say, "Hey, I have to vote Democrat." That's all. That's what I'm saying.
But I believe that's on both sides of the party. I feel like there's a group of people on both sides of the party that feel that way. That we gotta go for Republican, no matter who's in office. Or I feel like there's Republicans as well that are stuck in that same mindset. And I do agree that there's Democrats who are stuck in that same mindset, even if they did do their research or not.
Now, I want to throw that
Yeah.
question back to you guys. Do
real quick.
you guys vote both party lines, or did you want to comment on that real quick, DK?
Yeah, real quick. But the difference is that that in the Caucasian or the white culture, that they don't get ostracized for switching sides, so they can vote Democrat or Republican. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? I mean, and for me, that's what I do. Sometimes I vote Republican. Sometimes I vote Democrat. Sometimes I vote Independent. I vote for whoever I think the best candidate is, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, hey, because I'm black, I gotta do Democrat. That's what I don't agree with.
And what's the problem with doing that?
Voting your interest versus voting a political party. Is that what you're saying, Rob?
Voting exactly who you did your research for, and you see who's going to benefit you. And your
there's
situation.
nothing. That's cool. That's 100% cool.
Yeah, I think that's what we're.
I care less
that's how
what party are. Just give me my interest, and the interest I want to go forward with, and I'll vote for you. But make sure you do it. Because if you don't do it, you lost my vote next time.
Interesting. Okay. So do you guys feel let me add Maurice in here. Go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, me and DK was together today, man. We was watching statements that was made, and people just gonna vote because Kamala Harris was black. I'm saying because they were black or the ones who were partial. I mean, what's the difference of everybody saying about vote for Trump because he's white, and the same difference is the same. I mean, I look at me. I've been watching, man, people voting. My parents voting, man, since JFK got assassinated. I didn't understand what it was, but that's how long I've been knowing what politics was about a little bit. And my life ain't changed. My life is to a point where it's at its peak. I'm not gonna get no better. I'm not gonna get a gold mansion overlooking the town with 17 different thousand brand new cars. Or I'm not gonna become a millionaire overnight walking down the street sharing out money because I voted for Trump. Or because I voted for Kamala Harris.
Interesting. Okay, so do you guys think that either candidate really has policies that are going to help black men and men in general? Who's the better candidate that you think is for men?
Neither. Neither.
I think that's something to do with self, man. What the person itself wants to do. I mean, it's not about what Trump's going to do.
Let's move away from self and let's ask ourselves which candidate is really doing something for men. Go ahead, bro. Anybody have anything?
Well, yeah, I'll go. So, I'll try to look at, history, right? So the history of each candidate. So we only have two candidates right now. We got Harris and we got Trump. So I look at, what Harris has done in her history. But what have you done? And I'm gonna go off of that. Okay, so I know that you were big on locking, black men up. You put them away for longer times than they needed to be. The one brother was on death row. She had evidence to free him, and refused to let go to show that evidence until the court made her. But then you look at Trump, right? And so, we look at, he hasn't been a politician all his life, but he was president for a little bit, right? And I look at some of the things that he did for black men. And I think I said this last time, if you look at the First Step Act, right? And the First Step Act, it reduced, sentences, right, for Americans, period. But the ones who benefited from that, 90% of them were black Americans, and specifically black men. And that's just the name one. There's a whole lot of things, but
isn't he just? People would say he's just pandering. Is that
Whether it's
really him?
pandering or not, at least he's doing. But he's doing something. You know what I mean? And that's Democrats say, "Hey, we're going to do this for your community," and they don't do anything. You know what I mean? But at minimum, I can say, okay, yes, he has done. This is something tangible I can look at. And black men were freed from this, from the First Step Act. You know what I mean? So
Mm. What
that
do you
is a
guys think about
tangible
that?
evidence that you can see.
Do you guys think that it was only? Are you guys able to say the same things about Democratic candidates? Were they freeing people from prison, reducing sentences, help doing things like increasing health care for Black women? Have you guys seen anything that Joe Biden has done in the last 4 years, for example, that has benefited the Black community? What are your thoughts on that?
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
If you don't put yourself in those situations to need rescuing, you won't need to be saved.
Well, I also mentioned like Black women are typically get some of the worst health care when they go to, medical facilities. There's reasons for that, but
And
there's always been a concerted effort to kind of fix those things. Do you think that has anybody done anything?
If they get behind a good Black man and follow him and follow his plan, they'll be taken care of. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the solution for Black women getting, substandard health care and faring worse during surgeries and childbirth, they need to have better men? Is that your answer?
Yeah. They need to have better men with good health care.
That's a little rough, bro.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
Tell me how.
That's a little rough.
Tell me how so.
All right. Well, you're kind of saying that. So statistically, Black women fare worse in the medical system, right? If they go to have children, things of that nature. If they get, screens for cancer, breast cancer, whatever. You're saying that the solution for that is they need to have a man?
A man with good health care and good benefits that's doing what he's supposed to do.
So you're saying it stems from them kind of going in and having bad benefits. So if they're dating, John Travius, and he works as
Don Travius don't have benefits.
Perfect.
He don't. Not at all.
Oh Lord.
Come on, Punch. Bro, come on, man. Come on.
Got a comment from Charlie Ortiz. He says, "Would God put a man that committed 30 plus felony convictions to lead our nation?" Genuine question for you. What do you say to that, DK? He's got 30 plus felonies.
Okay, so so number one, I think God has always used flawed men, right? And that we all have sinned and fell short of glory of God, right? So I think we all make mistakes, and it's unfortunate, but if you really think about it, all these politicians could have all kind of felonies on them. You know what I mean? If the government would go at them like they went at Trump. You know what I mean? So I don't. I mean, it's just bogus. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the things are bogus. Or even if it's legit, even if it is legit, I think they all do those type of things. So I think God can use anybody. So so my answer is yes.
What about you, Jay or Red Nightwalker? Do you guys think that God will put a felon in the office? What are your thoughts on his felon convictions in general?
I think that God's going to put in the office whoever he sees fit. In his
Speak a little bit louder, Jay. Look, you're coming in a little bit low, bro.
I think that the Lord will put whoever's in office, regardless of whatever their background is, whatever they've been, accused of or accounts of. I think he has a bigger plan, and we just gotta. We might not be able to see it, but we gotta rock with it.
Wow, interesting. What do you think, Red Nightwalker? Do you think that a felon is qualified to lead our country?
Absolutely.
Just come out and say it, huh?
I mean, they're all crooks. and they're all shady about how they make their money when they're in office.
Mm.
And if you don't believe that and you're naive, why are they doing so much better than you are?
Mm.
I beg your pardon?
Has to have a documented track record, but nobody can actually tell me his actual crime. Okay, so he did some paperwork wrong. Is it any different than anybody else not claiming everything on their taxes or whatever the case may be?
Mm.
I agree on that.
So that's just what I would say is a misleading misrepresentation to make the character look bad. But at the end of the day, each individual should look at it and decide which direction is going to be better for me and my family. Forget the culture. I mean, that's a lot easier for me to say because I'm a red night walker. I'm only allowed to come out in the evening. So it doesn't affect me like it affects you based on what you're trying to present the topic matter as.
I feel you.
I enjoy all sorts of privileges, except for the daylight. But that's just a little me trying to joke around.
Okay, so do you think that
no
Kamala
issue
Harris,
at all?
Have you been watching any of Kamala Harris's policies, Red Knight?
That's all I do, sir. That's all I do. And
Now
I purposely
want you to be honest. Now I want you to be honest. Which policies sound the best coming from Kamala Harris, and then I want you to follow up with which ones are worse for you as a voter.
Okay, now let me pose this, and I purposely do this. When I'm watching a liberal presentation, I'll watch a conservative news platform, and vice versa. When I'm watching a conservative platform, I'll watch the more liberal tilted venue, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard on either side one time, except that she has done phenomenal things. She will stand by her record, and she's all about helping people. But she has not presented one empirical data yet of how she has performed or how something has helped a subgroup, a subculture, or just general population.
What is that?
So you're saying that she's saying that she's done things, but she has no record of actually doing anything. That's what you're saying?
She very well may have it. And that's on both sides. So why is that? That tells me you have nothing to present to anybody that has been beneficial.
What's the number one thing as a man that's keeping you from voting for Kamala Harris?
The idea that she's not truly about helping people.
Interesting.
If you,
and you feel Donald Trump
you
is
would have
truly
done that.
You're saying, say again, please.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Well, and you feel Donald Trump is prepared to help people?
I don't know if he's prepared, but I at least know where he's at on those things.
Okay. I wanted to play a clip. I'm going to play one of the more recent clips that Democrats are concerned about Donald Trump. And I'm going to play a clip where Republicans or conservatives are concerned about Kamala Harris. Which one should I start out with, DK?
The Republicans
go with the Trump one first.
Go with the Trump? Okay. So let me pull that up real quick. All right, this is Donald Trump in a recent campaign speech, and he really made some people kind of nervous with what he's saying here. So let's take a look and let's dissect this.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine.
Now, he said 4 more years, it'll be fixed, it'll be fine. And and that reminds me of that one clip, you know, when you say it'll be fixed, it'll be fine.
What do you mean by that?
Let's continue.
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again.
What? And I'm of course I'm being a little bit of hyperbole here, but people are thinking, well, you're going to be, president for life after 4 years. What's going on here?
Have it fixed so good you're not going to have.
And what did he say? He said he'll have it fixed so good.
And again, Christians don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
So what say you, DK, Red Knight Walker, Trump supporters? Doesn't that sound a little creepy to you?
Yeah. Yeah, so let me say this. I thought about this all day. I heard it, But this is weird, right? Now check this out. If you were, say back in the 80s, right? You joined, you owned the Chicago Bulls, right? And so you had the best player in the world at the time, Michael Jordan, right? Does it make any sense, right? And I'm not saying this is Trump, but we have like limit terms for presidents, right? So if you had Jordan and you were like, okay, we can only have after 4 years, we got to get rid of him. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think that if someone is good at their job, you should keep them. That's not
So
what
you
he's
saying
talking about.
over
But I
8
know a lot of
years?
people
How
are like,
many
oh,
terms should
he's
Donald
trying
Trump
to be a good
have?
kid.
How many terms should Donald Trump have?
No,
DK, in
I'm
your
not just
opinion?
saying. I'm not saying Donald Trump. I'm just saying in general, right? In general, why do we have a term limit? I think a term, if someone is good at doing it, like let's say a lot of people thought Obama was doing a good job. You think he could have done 8 more years? He could have,
Well,
right?
I think that the way the country is set up is we don't want to have a king, We don't want to have someone like, Putin, who's been in
Right, but
for the better part of
if
most of our
somebody's doing a
lives.
good job, why?
Because there could be other people who may be eligible.
Why mess up a good thing if it's working?
Well, you broke up a little bit there, DK.
Which one and who did a good job? That they need more than 8 years. Name one.
That's a good question.
No, I'm not. Yeah, but maybe they could have. You think Obama could have did better than Trump?
No.
What, another 4 years? Just asking.
He could have did better than Trump, but he had his 8 years and he didn't perform as he should have, according to our standards. He did.
No, I got you, but I was just saying. But if he had 4 more years, would it have been better than the 4 years with Trump? Yes or no?
He didn't perform in 8 years, so no.
We did have a comment that came in. Richie Rich said, Harris 2024, we not going back. So got some Harris fans representing. We had a question in the green room. Los, did you want to bring something up about Trump's track record, or did you want to talk about the straight ticket situation, Red Knight? Got to unmute, guys.
All right, sure. All right, so at least in Pennsylvania, I bet it carries the same weight in each state, Commonwealth. Why have a straight ticket? If you're not being suppressed by the vote, you're being suppressed internally. And people say, well, it's a matter of convenience. I don't have to look at the candidates. I'll just click this and I'll vote all red. I'll click this, I'll vote all blue. Why have that option? So the point is, you're not being an educated, or maybe you are educated, but you're not being the intelligent voter when you go into that ballot box, or if you decide to mail stuff in because you can't get up that day. That's on you. But the point I'm trying to bring to light is that should not even be an option. That's one way government is suppressing the vote, but not even letting you think about what you're supposed to do. Oh, well, I'm blue, so let me go over here. Oh, I'm red, I'm going to go over here. So why is that?
What are your thoughts on that, DK, just real quick?
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. That's one thing that really, when I used to vote Democrat a lot, I started looking at. I used to do that, just go in and hit the button straight down the ticket because I knew, some of the people. But then one time I was looking, I was like, well, who's this? Who's that? I'm like, wait, I don't even know. You know what I mean? I don't even know these people, especially, and that's how they do. So really, I don't know if the higher ups even really care about the presidential election, right? They just figure, okay, in each state, if I can get them to vote blue or vote red, now let me sneak all these snakes in here.
Yeah.
That would normally not get in. And if you hit the button, guess what? That's how you get them in.
Right.
Because you like Obama, or you like Trump, or you like Hillary. You know what I mean? That's how we get them in. They don't even care who wins the election.
We got a lot of folks on the panel here. Just throwing the questions over to Richard. Do you feel like there is a cultural pressure to vote blue no matter who?
I don't think it's really no pressure because I think it's like we take what we know about each person running, and again I think it comes down to who's best for the fit for the job, and what bring to the table when they're running.
Okay, Richard, you got a gun to your head right now, and you have to make a decision on who is better for men. Who's the better candidate to help men? What do you do?
The better Trump obviously for men, but we're not when it comes November, we're not voting for just men. We're voting for America. So I think we it's definitely important that we take both into consideration when we make that decision at the polls come November.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me that question.
So
go ahead, Rob. You want me to ask you that same question? Who's the better candidate for men and why?
If you got a gun in my head, I'm gonna defuse your gun. I'm gonna point back at you.
Emotional, damn it.
Okay. And what do you do when you have to look at the best candidate for men?
You don't want to know that.
So you, by default, because of the topic, I have to assume that you wanna vote blue no matter who.
Stop the cap.
Not at all.
Okay, what's your answer, bro?
I want to vote for who's going to best support me and my son, me and my family, me and my circle.
Well, that brings up a good point. I want to play another clip real quick.
Hey, hold on, Punch. Oh, let me get a clip. Let me get a clip
ahead,
real quick. And so, Rich, I'm gonna throw this clip at you. Not literally, but I'm gonna throw this clip at you. I just want your feedback on it, okay? Because for me, it's about Christian values, right? So when I'm voting, I have like a tier that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for number one, who stands closer to my Christian values, then who stands closer to my family values, then who stands closer to my culture values. So that's the way that I do it. So here we go. Check it out.
Witness. Don't you let him. Because you see, these people.
DK got that struggle wireless going on. Try it again, DK. It messed up. No, he all froze up anyway. Can you try again, DK? Can you hear me, DK? Well, while he's figuring that out, I'm going to play another clip that's probably in the same vein. And this one is Kamala Harris advocating this is one of her first campaign stops, so to speak. And she is on RuPaul's Drag Race. And here we go.
We are all in this together, and your vote is your power. So please make sure your voice is heard this November and register to vote at vote.gov.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Can she get an amen, y'all? And I love the way she kind of brings that faux Christian element to it. And it's almost, in my opinion, sacrilegious. And this is the big issue that I have with Kamala. You're supposed to be a black African American woman, supposed to be. And this is how you choose to represent yourself on RuPaul's Drag Race. And people may think, well, that's pretty innocent. But this is also what happens on RuPaul's Drag Race. These are younger people performing dances at RuPaul's Drag Con and receiving tips. Are you guys seeing this? And as a candidate, it makes me wonder, like, what in the world is going on where she feels comfortable with this kind of community and kind of what the people she's associating with. And then I look at the family situation. Is this the right candidate for families? Is this what we have to look forward to for another 4 years? Doesn't this seem a little strange to y'all? And I want to. I'm not gonna let the kid do everything here, but this is a little bit weird to me. But this is RuPaul. I want to throw it back over to Richard because you had an interesting comment. Then back to Rob. Is this your idea of family values when we look at the next 4 years?
No, it isn't, and I don't agree with that. But I mean, we gotta ask how much control did Kamala Harris have over that? Was we expecting her just to, get on the stage, tell everybody stop doing what they was doing?
Come on, bro.
Was she hosting it, or was she just there and was she supporting them? Like,
no, bro. Come on. Before she decided to get on RuPaul's show, her handlers do research for anybody that comes in contact with her. She knows exactly what this organization represents. I've seen RuPaul in cartoons for children.
Facts.
Excuse me, somebody had to say something about that?
I said facts.
Yeah. RuPaul in cartoons. What does RuPaul need to be? What is he doing in a children's cartoon? What is the purpose of that? And Kamala, before she has a chance to connect with these folks, they vet these people. And that's my concern, guys, with Kamala. I've got concerns with Trump, too. But do we need another 4 years of this? Going back and forth with this, in my opinion, confusion, anti-Christian confusion. And you guys just saw what happened with the Olympics recently, with the sacrilegious opening ceremony where they were mocking the Last Supper and put transgender men, I guess they're trying to be women, as a representation of Jesus and his 12 disciples. And I'm really wondering, like, as a man, how do I raise a family? How do I organize a community? How do I invest back into my community? And this is what I have to deal with. And it hasn't done us any favors, in my opinion. Any thoughts on that, guys?
You take care of your circle, man.
Yeah. So just ignore it and take care of the people around me.
People around you, if your circle is right, they will have a circle themselves, and they will multiply and multiply and multiply. Take care of who's around you. Take care of that.
Do you believe that most men have the resources and the capability like us to push back things that are anti-family like this? Do you think most men have the ability to do that?
They got courage. They got wisdom.
They have courage. Huh. DK, we just showed the clip of the young man dancing in front of a crowd at RuPaul's drag con and getting tips. The kid can't be no more than like 9 years old. What are your thoughts on that as far as Kamala Harris later appearing on the show and doing a campaign ad?
Like I said, it's just ignorant. You know what I mean? It's ignorance. You know, like I heard what you were saying. You know what I mean? You know what you're getting into. I mean, when you go to a RuPaul show, you know what you're going to go see. You know what you're supporting. You know what I mean? So how can you tell me you have, these Christian values and
does she even say she has Christian values?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm saying, why wouldn't I? Yeah, I don't even want to go there right now. I'm heated right now. Seriously, I'm heated. Get my video played real quick. Give me a second. Go ahead, Punch.
But yeah, and when you guys hear, well, first let me open it up. Go ahead, and if anybody else wants to comment on that or any other thing we've been talking about, feel free to jump in, guys. And if you want to leave a comment on YouTube, our Cancel Kings page, we will read it. We will comment on it. Or on our Facebook page, Cancel Kings. Make sure you guys that are listening like the video and subscribe on both our Facebook page, Cancel Kings, Twitter page, and especially our YouTube page, Cancel Kings, and leave comments there. It will pop up on the screen if you do that. So going back to this Kamala Harris thing and using RuPaul's show as a vehicle for one of her ads, what are you guys' thoughts on that, especially with respect to men and family? All right, I guess we beat that dead. And DK, you had a video too. What are your thoughts? Do you want to pull that up, or you want me to go with my next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. I'll be ready in about 2 minutes.
Okay. So here's a video of Tulsi Gabbard working Kamala Harris into the ground here. Let's see what she has to say about then presidential, or actually Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this video.
False accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence.
Let it play.
She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris.
Okay, can we hear what she has to say back to that?
Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that.
Yeah, Pancho,
Is that it, or can you let it run a little more?
Yeah, you guys hear me? I think Punch is on mute, but
that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring a...
Can you hear me, DK? I don't know if anybody else has.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So,
no, you're good.
Piggyback on what I said, Ms. Harris, that is one example of how she says she does great things, but can't actually illustrate what she's done for anybody. And if
Yeah.
anything, in this particular situation, or not situation, environment, she pretty much illustrated that she is the slave master by keeping people enslaved with her initiatives, or upholding the initiatives that keep people enslaved. We call it prison, we call it whatever, cheap labor was, I guess, in prison work, but it's pretty much modern day slavery. So we have to look at that and we have to digest it, that she has not come out to actually help people. And the probability is, statistics wise, they're going to find more brown and black people in that institution of slavery.
Yeah.
So people should be aware, start opening their eyes, not just listening to what is being said. Oh, hey, you should feel good about this. No, you should open your eyes, become aware that this is modern day slavery.
Yeah, and this other video I want to play, man. It speaks exactly to that, right? Hopefully this will work this time. Not.
Hold on, before you play that video, I want to talk about the little weed situation thing, the marijuana and stuff like that, because it says something how she sentenced over 1,500 people for that. But like when we're talking about the marijuana and all that stuff, we gotta consider the time frame when she was a prosecutor for when during that happened. The legal and the drug offenses was very different from today. She was also trying to decriminalize the whole marijuana thing when when they were trying to pass it. She was in full support over that. So it's definitely like time. We can't say today how she sentenced over 1,500 people for weed when she during that time, that was like that was a weed, marijuana, when they were dealing with that during her time when she was a prosecutor. That was like that weed, that stuff was heavy during that time. So it's like during
Right.
today's time, it cooled off. She's
Yeah.
in full support of decriminalizing that right now.
Yeah. Well,
But
she's in
But
support.
she had a job to
She.
do, and she was doing her
but
job
she
during that
enforced
time.
it. She
Yeah.
100% enforced it.
Right, but my thing is there were so many other things, what I mean, besides the weed. Just I mean, think about this. She passed a law for what was it? Oh, for truancy, right? So if think about this, so if a kid missed 10 days of school, right? And I've had this happen to me, 10 days unexcused absence, she was sending cops to arrest the parents. You know what I mean?
Right.
What kind of mess is that? And you talk about California, so you're probably talking about single family home. So you're talking about she's going to arrest single black women whose kids maybe they ain't listening, skipping school. I know Maurice, this was back in the 80s. He said in fourth grade he only went to school like 7-8 days.
And we only talk about the bad things that she has done, like locking people up.
Tell me what good she has
She has
done.
helped. Nobody's talking about the program that she had created. It was called the Back on Track program for people that had their first offense. She was putting them in the Back on Track program. All that she was giving them resources. She was helping them. She was doing her job, but at the same time, still trying to help them. The same way she was putting them away, she was trying to help get the ones she put away out. So they had resources provided to them, but everybody was not put in the same circumstances as other people. It was different for other people.
Now look, let me tell you about like those programs, those back on track programs, right? And I talk to people who have done some time, and if they want to chime in, they can. And you're in prison, and you go take these classes, and they might be good, get all these certificates. As soon as you come out, they don't give a heck about that certificate. They can care one. You can have, I was the honor roll inmate student of the year. I got this certificate for this. You know what they're gonna say? Man, you a felon. You
But
ain't working.
they was working on getting those certificates instead of being placed behind bars.
Nah, listen, I ain't going with the certificate. The certificate versus the felony. You
Don't matter.
You ain't winning with that nowhere. I don't care what
I'd rather you put me in a program before you put me in jail. I'm gonna just say that.
Well, yeah, okay, put me.
She was doing
okay,
that. You said
but she was putting us in jail.
And then get the program.
Yeah.
Either way, no matter where you're put, it's still going to be on your record. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be put in a program before I be put in jail. When it come down to it.
Nah,
If you
but
give me
you
the option,
you would
if
nah,
somebody
but
gave
the
you an
thing
option,
is
if somebody
you
gave
would
you an option, program
her
or
whole
jail,
job
everybody
was
in
to
this
put
chat
me
would be
in
putting the
jail.
same program.
nah, but you got it mixed up. They were going to jail, and then on their way out, they were doing a program. It wasn't just like an ARD. It was you was going to
For
jail, and then
first time,
hey,
for first time
You
offense,
was
for first time
getting
offenses, it was.
prosecuted. You was getting prosecuted.
nah, that's
Then you got your class afterwards.
yeah. It's all good though. But guess what? I feel your point. And if it was like that, if it was, hey, you got caught with some weed, hey, we're not going to charge you, but we're going to have you, but it's going to be mandatory that you take this class, and then you wipe it off. And that's what I mean. A lot of states do that with the ARD.
He was true though with the time. You got to look at the time frame and how they really looked at marijuana. Wasn't even legal in California, and I feel that California was
Yeah,
like
they
one of
was
the
shutting,
top.
all that down heavy.
This must have been a time ago because California, I feel like, was one of the top 3 states who had got marijuana legalized. So this had to be,
She's
some
not.
time
Yeah,
ago.
she wasn't tripping on that. She had the Back on Track pro. Then when she was a senator, she co-sponsored the whatchamacallit, the Moore program for that. So she was. It wasn't like she was just not in support of. She was doing her job, but at the same time, she was still fighting
But yeah, but
for
at the
people
same,
to have their marijuana right.
that's a
But she was
problem when
but
you
but the
doing
problem was
it.
that she was laughing, but
Hey,
she was
hold on.
laughing at that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So it sounds like y'all in 100 support of Kamala Harris.
Who?
100 support. The guys
Not I.
the guys are speaking. They said she did all this good stuff, so you 100% support.
I support her. I support her.
Okay. Why?
Because like you just said, Rich naming all this good stuff she has done. Every candidate has done bad things. Every candidate has done good things.
We need to name one good thing she
Every
done.
I already how many? I named more than one, but she has done several good things. She has done things that I might.
So she created a certificate.
But when you have
program for felons and what else?
Felons that she locked up.
But then again, okay, then we could look at the other side. Immunity to the police. Did we not just see what happened with Sanya? And that's the man that's what we supporting right now. That means if he gets 100% immunity, Sanya will not get no justice if he's getting 100% immunity. He'll be fighting for that.
First of all, it was that's not what he said. He said qualifying immunity, right? So there's a difference. So qualifying immunity, they already have that anyway. Number one, number two, he doesn't have the power because that power lies with the state. So, I mean, we got to know the one thing that's wrong with Trump is that he just says whatever he wants to say and doesn't understand what he's talking about sometimes. So
and that's
in reality,
and that's what we want leading the country. Somebody that don't know who they talking about half the time. Stop it.
No, what I'm saying is that I do. Want me to tell you why? Because he's not going to be swayed. He's not going to be swayed by politicians. Kamala is just a puppet. She's not a candidate. She's a puppet. Biden's a puppet. Bush was a puppet. You know what I mean? Clinton was a puppet. But when you talk about Trump, and I think, to be honest, I don't even think the Republican Party even really wants Trump, but they don't have no choice but to take him because he's so popular. Because the thing is, he's going to do whatever he wants to do, and that's not how the higher ups really want the system to run.
But DK, couldn't any generic Republican candidate do the same thing that these conservative initiatives? Why does it have to be Trump?
Well, they don't want Trump. That's the thing.
So why not just pick Jeb Bush or somebody else?
Because they can't. Because Trump following it is too big. If they pick someone else, they're not going. They have no chance of winning. But,
that's what I'm trying to illustrate. That's one of the issues I have with the Republican Party is you guys don't have to have anybody could beat Joe Biden. Anybody could beat Kamala Harris. All the talent in the Republican Party.
No, the thing is that they can beat them, but they can't beat them with Trump still in the background. They have to. If Trump is eligible to run and they try to put somebody else there, it's going to be a rebellion or a split per se in the Republican Party.
And I understand that. I'm just saying that if the Republican Party was a little more disciplined and stopped giving him so much oxygen, any generic Republican candidate could beat these two people.
Yeah, no, I mean they could, but when they have to give him another term. Yeah. They have no choice. But real quick, let me get this video on. If it mess up, let me know. I'll just cut it off. All right.
Okay.
Witness. Don't you let them. Because you see, these people have an agenda. And their agenda, one of the things is to get rid of the church. To get rid of the church. To have abortion on demand. To the promotion of all things LGBTQ. You know, Kamala Harris, she's running for the vice presidency. I call her Miss Lock Up a Brother, for when she was the AG in California, a Negro knew, a black man knew that he was dead in the water. He was dead in the water. Matter of fact, you don't need a trial. You might as well go into jail if you appear before her, because she took pride in locking up black folk. And now all of a sudden she's trying to be sister girl. I'm telling it. Check out her record. She locked us up left and right. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, you did, Kamala, however I should pronounce it. You did. And now we're supposed to forget all that stuff. And she boasted in California that she was one of the first. I got the tape queued, but my time's up to date. One of the first I showed you Thursday night to perform a same-sex marriage. Y'all want to see it? You want to see it? Let it rip.
Let the rings exchanged and the vows declared symbolize your commitment, sincerity, and affection.
Yeah.
And may your love never falter.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard, you were kind of mentioning how does that?
You
go ahead.
My question to you, Richard. You know what I mean? Like I said, for me, and maybe your way of voting is different, but for me, I like to line up my Christian values, my family values, and my culture values in those orders. So as a Christian man, which I know that you are, as a Christian man, how can we vote for someone who not only supports gay marriage, but boasts in, hey, I was the AG when it passed, and I was the first one to perform a gay marriage, same couple, however you would same couple marriage in my state. Like that's a good thing. Like, to me, like it's totally backwards. Like, this is just, it doesn't make any sense how she's not for our community. To be honest, she's not even, no, I ain't gonna do that. She ain't even from our community, to be honest. She uses our community. You know what I mean? She's just using us for votes. When she gets in, she's not going to do nothing to help us. What she's going to do is she's going to help her real people, her Indian brothers and sisters. That's how she grew up. If you've seen what her family looked like, it's cool. Her mom was Indian, her dad was Jamaican, and that's fine. But she didn't grow up with her dad. She grew up with her mom. She grew up as a American Indian. You know what I mean? Not like tribe, but from the country India. You know what I mean? And that's fine. Just be who you are. You know what I mean? Yeah, be who you are. Don't try to use us to get votes. Just be who you are. That's good. If you're the first Indian American senator, that's cool. Be that. Be that. But don't try to be something that you're not, just to get our votes and trick us. But I'm telling you, was playing for the door. She pledged AKA and did all that. She ain't doing that for our sisters. She's locking them up. Come on, man.
Okay, so Richard, if you want to respond to that, sucker free if you got your mic up, and then we'll throw it around the panel. Is Kamala Harris really for black people, or is she for the alphabet community and other communities?
Honestly, I believe she's just for democracy, which, as far as pertaining to our community, no, it's not for our community. Because we know what democracy is, which is, the politicians do what they feel is best for the people, which necessarily doesn't work out. That's been, historically proven. And honestly, to the other gentleman and the DK's points, I see pros and cons in what they're both saying. Because as we've seen, even prior to us looking at history with politicians and presidencies, none of it has really ever helped the Black community, if we're talking about the Black community, okay? And they're always going to pander for the votes, and they're going to do all these things, pull out tricks and trades, and this is a delicate time. And the one thing I like that DK brought up is about, if we're talking about being Christian, right? Are any of them supporting Christian values?
Yeah, we showed a clip earlier, I think, before you jumped on, of Kamala Harris doing one of her ad campaigns on RuPaul's Drag Race.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
And when I say when I do
But
look
see,
at
I want to foot stump that a little bit more, guys.
Okay.
She could have went to the NAACP. She could have went to the Indian version of NAACP. She could have went to an organization that's still somewhat liberal but focuses on family values. She chose to go on RuPaul.
Save button, bro. Save button.
That's just strange to me. And I keep trying to get you guys to re-vector. And I want to put the same criticism on Trump. But what are they doing for men? The people that God has commissioned to be the head of households, to fix the families in America and around the world. The hands and feet of the ministry, the prophets and the priests. What are these candidates doing to make our job easier as men? And when I see a lot of the stuff that's coming out of the politics, it's like it doesn't seem like we're even being thought of.
I agree with that. I haven't seen anything that's promoting that either.
I was in a group chat and some of my family members, and they were saying, we got to vote for Kamala. We got to support her. And the women are behind her. The women are going to push her. We need to support our Black women. And I'm thinking, she doesn't even do anything to support us as men or us as families. It's just Black women and their children, and a certain kind of Black woman, a modern Black woman who doesn't really who sees herself divorced from the Black family with men. Am I missing something, or am I just lost in the sauce on this?
I'm back on here. My phone was done now. I had to get my charger note. I'm called back up. But what do you think? Because I think black women can have the same exact question about Trump. I mean, Black women can say, "What is Trump going to do for me? What has he done for me?"
Well,
the same thing they're saying about Kamala Harris.
Well, I see what you're saying, Richard. But from my perspective, as a man, as a Black man, God is putting the head of household on us as the families. So it starts with the men. Our community, as far as Black folks and minorities, are upside down because the men are not in their rightful place, not because the women aren't boss chicks and doing what they need to do. We need to get men together, and we need to get initiatives that help us as men. I have never seen anything from Kamala Harris that promotes or supports men, especially men of color. Never.
No.
That makes me concerned. I'm looking forward to seeing what she says, but my suspicion is she won't say anything, and she's going to continue to prop up women and homosexuals.
Indeed.
That's my suspicion. Now, Donald Trump, for hook or for crook, hold your nose. He's going to talk about getting men back in their proper position, and he's talked about a lot of that, or his support team has talked a lot about that in Project 2025. Whole different topic. But thoughts on that, guys, and then we can have some more freestyle conversation.
I'll chime in first on that. And honestly, you hit the nail on the head. So, when we're talking about our community and you're talking about head of household, yes, we ain't got to go through all the demographics and all that with it. We know what it is. So, yeah, well, that's something we should be concerned about. Now, unpopular thing, I'm not going to vote because I don't believe either one of them represents, first of all, I vote for God, okay? So I don't think either of them promote that. And then when we get down to the point where we're talking about our community, I don't think either one is going to support that. And, we still do have to live in this country. And, I know you guys have heard it as well. You hear, oh, it's the lesser of two evils. But evil is evil, right? So which direction do we really want to see this go in, to where we can benefit and we can bring things back to the head of household, going all the way up to the more important thing, to how we get back to, true Christianity, get back to God. Because if they're not going to represent that, and we bringing up points about homosexuality and these things they're doing that are going against, God's will, like they're showing who they are.
Well,
how are you going to stop it?
Well, this is how I see a potential solution. And many of you guys have heard me talk about this before. Whether it's a Democrat or Republican in office, some things don't change, but they give us material to make decisions on a small local level and on a family and an individual level. Donald Trump is talking about getting rid of Department of Education, a radical idea. But at the same time, a lot of schools are failing around the country. So what is he doing? He's creating an option for people to put their children in charter schools and private schools. That creates an opportunity for you as fathers.
Yes, it
Now
does.
you have an opportunity to put your child into a charter school or a private school using vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
It creates opportunities. Donald Trump is also talking about getting rid of, or at least his staff is talking about getting rid of no-fault divorce. There's so many men on this panel that have sworn off getting remarried if they're divorced, because once they do get a divorce, their wife can take them for alimony, can take the children away 90% of the time. Even at times when there's no particular fault and he's done nothing wrong. She just got tired of being married. How can you have a family like that? How can you have an institution of marriage and create communities when women can leave a marriage for no reason? I'm not talking about she getting the brakes beat off of her or you're cheating on her. But what's happening is women are literally able to leave a marriage anytime they want to because of something they saw Beyonce say on TV. That's why we have the lowest marriage rate in the history of this country. Black folks were the most married people up until the 1960s at 84%. Now we're at the very bottom. And our women tend to divorce at the highest rate, not because of finances or cheating, but because they feel like it. So when you start looking at all these things as a whole, it really makes me start wondering which candidate is giving me the most to work with. I'm begging Kamala Harris to stop going to concerts and hanging out with RuPaul and start talking about what she's going to do to help men, to help families. But I can just tell by the nature of the beast, it probably won't happen. She's a feminist, and she's not even, I would say she's a Christian feminist, but she's not even a Christian. So I'm not optimistic about her. I'm disenfranchised with Trump, but who's giving me the best clay to work with? Thoughts on that, guys?
That's my exact point. And that's what I look at. And not saying I'm right, but I think that we have a better chance of taking those small opportunities you just mentioned with the Donald Trump in. Like the question Rob asked, how are we going to... If we're going to try to do something to make a change, we definitely have to start small. We got to start from the bottom and build up. So you once again, you asked the right question. What's going to give us the best chance to start making these changes on a lower level to where we can build it up? And who is going to give us that better opportunity?
You muted, Pancho.
Now, I want to be fair with Richard. Help me out. What material is Kamala Harris giving us as men who want to be heads of households, who want to be providers, protectors, problem solvers, prophets, and priests, to lead our families into the next generation and leave a legacy? Go.
Well, like I said, she for as far as black men go, she has done some things for black men, just like supporting trying to get black men educated through the HBCUs. She supported that. But when we go as far as when we get to the head of household, that right there has that's a lot of questions, because she's trying to be she's trying to run America. She's trying to be all for woman rule the world, stuff like that. She's trying to do that. So
Hold on. She trying to do what?
You heard what he
she's
said.
what in
you're
the cookie and Boo Boo's backyard barbecue
she's
is going
you
on
see what
here?
she's trying to do.
Let's
She's trying to
rewind.
make history. She's trying to be the first woman president. Know what I mean? That falls in line. She's in support of, women rule the world, stuff like that. She's in support of that. So when we talk about what is she doing to help us men be the head of household, that I don't know. That is something I do agree with. I don't agree with that part. I do not. So that's like right there. I don't have no answer for that. That is something me that I don't agree with her. That
Are
is
you a
something I just
father?
don't. No,
Are you married?
no.
But real quick, number one, I don't know. You got to tell me what she did with HBCUs. I know Trump is definitely responsible for, giving a lot of money to the HBCUs. You know what I mean? More money than any American president in history. You know what I mean? But besides that, I just think the problem with Harris, I think you said it best just now, Richard. You said that she just wants to make it history. You know what I mean? It's all about her. You know what I mean? And one of my mentors, Reverend Edwards, he always says this to me. It's not about you. You know what I mean? And the country and making America great and vote blue no matter who, whatever it is. It can't really just be about you. It has to be about, if you really want to make America great, or you really want to get these things done in our community, then you have to put yourself aside and say, okay, hey, what is best for the country? I think we said this. I don't know if we said it last time, but JFK is that, don't ask. And to me, this is a problem. Democrats have gotten away from this. You know what I mean? JFK's famous quote. You know what I mean? Don't ask what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country, right? And when America, when America lives up to that, when America is riding that way, that makes America the greatest country ever. That's what makes America great, because we're working forward to doing, not it's not about us, but it's not about us as an individual, but it's about us in the sense of the US.
Richard, and then we'll turn it to a Red Night Walker, and open the mic for anybody else that wants to comment on that. Who's the priority here? America
I agree.
or the candidates?
It's definitely the priority is definitely what's best for America. I think that's number one. But it's gonna be up. It's gonna be up to us to decide that. And I also want to answer the first question that you asked, Mr. DK, about the HBCU. She was a big advocate, and she pushed for increase. She pushed for increasing the fundings for HBCUs would help put black men into schools with the funding that she was pushing for the HBCUs to get to begin with. So that's what I want
No,
to say.
That's good.
no, that's good. But like I said, Trump put over 500 million in the HBCUs while he was in office. 500 million. That was a 14% increase than over any president, Obama, Bush, Clinton. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money to our historically black schools. So, but I'm glad that she supports that too. So it sounds like they're on the same page as that. So that's good.
Now,
Obama started that though.
And he might have started, but I mean,
Trump finished the
Trump
job.
Trump Trump Trump, Trump got credit for it. So
That's
Red
all he
Night,
was looking for.
I
Red
know.
Night Walker, going to you, and then we're going to open the mics up to everybody can comment on the same question. Um, America or the candidate? Which one is truly the priority? Donald Trump and his ego, Kamala and her precedents, or America? Make sure you
All
guys are
right.
muted up when you're not talking too.
All right. So one, I just with the flow of the argument. Richard, your argument is weak. It has not convinced me at all.
I have spoken.
So I feel bad for you that you are younger, so you may be a little naive. I'm not trying to pick
Oh
on you. I'm just
Lord,
saying
you
your
going in on the
argument was
poor
weak.
boy.
Right. So I'm going to stop there. But to answer your question, America or the candidate, I think it should be neither. My personal
But what
creed
is it
is the
right now? It's not.
Methodist creed. You do as much as you can for as many as you can for as long as you can.
Mm,
Life is that simple, or should be that simple, and you have to digest that. So which one's going to do it more? I know it's not Kamala, so it's got to be the other dude.
mm.
And until she presents something that shows me that, I, I'm yeah, it's just not there. And maybe it'll happen.
Okay.
I want it to happen. I think most people want it to happen.
Yeah.
But nobody's generated one comment yet or one actual empirical example of what she's done that's benefited it, whether it's your culture, my culture, anybody's culture. So whether it's men, whether it's what, well, it's just not there.
Okay. So we're gonna run that back to Rob, Jay, Sucker Free. Same question. Who's putting America first? Kamala Trump or Donald Trump, especially when it comes to men?
Man, I honestly don't see either of them doing it.
Yeah, I'm stuck with that. I'm really not pulled from neither side. Like I don't have a strong pull. There's no one that has, that's pulling me to either side. I
Coming in
seen
low,
the
Jay. You're coming in. Your volume's a little bit low. Get a little closer to the mic, please.
Yeah, I said I'm neither.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have a serious pull who's pulling me to either side. That with strong facts that are saying what either of them are doing for the black community or for a black man.
Hmm. Sucker Free, you sound like you agreed a little bit with that.
That is true.
Mm.
Maybe they can show us. Maybe one of them can show us something different. But as of right now, I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that makes me believe it will happen with either of them.
Yeah. Delmar, what about you? You're up here too. Do you think that Donald Trump is putting the country first? Do you think Kamala Harris is putting the country first? What are your thoughts on it?
I can't. I'm really still ain't feeling neither one of them because I ain't really showed me nothing, man.
You're coming a little bit mumbly, Delmar. Get a little bit closer to the mic. But
Can you hear me?
sounds like you said you're not really feeling either candidate, and that seems to be the sentiment from most of the guys on the panel.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it right now.
So Delmar, as a voter, what is the one thing that one candidate can do to swing your vote towards them?
I really haven't really thought about it yet because so much been going on.
Mm.
What's your take, Pancho and DK, on that previous question on who's pulling y'all to either side or who has the strongest argument of who do you feel should lead for a black man?
Well, I'll go first, DK, if you don't mind. But I think that, make sure you guys are muted up if you're not talking too. I mentioned it before. Who's giving me the best material to make family, to make community as an individual man? Who's trying to fix? Who's trying to create an environment where my business can thrive? I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to be able to see someone who focuses and tries to get my business to thrive. As a man of God, every time I say something, I don't want to run into the turbulence of this craziness in the culture with all this anti-family stuff, if you know what I mean. We're seeing too many men that are just lost in the sauce. They're afraid of commitment. They're afraid of marriage. They're afraid of connecting with, even sometimes connecting with women because they're just afraid. The Me Too movement. Who's going to take down that temperature even more? Who's going to give me the best material? And when I look at the actual policies that people have put out so far, I'm not seeing any of that from Kamala Harris. If anything, I think she'd make it worse for intergender relationships. I think she's all about pushing, women at the expense of men and homosexuals. And I always say, do we want our communities to be ran by, studs and thugs? Or do we want our communities to be ran by scholars and squares? And I don't think that Kamala is showing me anything that she is saying we're going to get away from the studs and thugs running our community. Trump, an absolute train wreck. He has no control over his mouth. The people around him are trying to coalesce and make some sense out of a future administration, unlike what they did last time. But can they restrain him from keeping his foot out of his mouth? I don't know. Is he going to cause just as many problems as the liberalism that Kamala Harris is bringing in because of his mouth and his lack of discipline? Probably. So it's a very tough choice. And I don't think that either candidate has the discipline to do the right thing right now. But when I look at the actual policies, because at the end of the day, they all create policy, who gives me the best material? So that overall is what I'm looking for, to be honest. DK?
Yeah, no, I like that. For me, just to change it up a little bit, I'll just take this take on it. Is that as men, I'm sure all the men that's on here tonight and that's watching, our goal is to be successful. So then I look at like, okay, what candidate do I benefit most from by being successful in what I do? And to me, it definitely leads to Trump. So if you become successful, if you start a business and it ends up doing great, you probably want to be, in that Trump category. But for Harris, it's like, hey, if you stay average Joe, then it's probably better for you. If you just want to be average, you want to be middle lower class, it's good for you to stay there. And that's what you have to think. I think that men who want to be successful, why wouldn't you want Trump? But men who just want to be average, I guess you wouldn't want Trump because he's gonna, you're gonna get better breaks, and assistance from Harris. So that's my take. Still on mute, Punch.
What about you, Rob? And then we'll pass it to Jay and open it up for everybody. Who's giving you, and I know this is kind of a repeat of the last question, but who's giving you the most crumbs to eat?
Probably Trump from the most crumbs to eat. It's probably it's gonna be Trump right now with the most crumbs to eat. I don't think the other party has had no real time. Well, they had time,
but you can make history if you vote for Kamala Harris. You make history for Black women.
Nah, I ain't really worried about making history. I gotta make sure first is is it right for the family? Is it right for the community? Is it right for me? And where I might be standing in my aspect or where I might see it. But I still don't see the Democrats. They don't have a strong side right now.
Someone said it's a sugar rush what the Democrats are going through right now with Kamala Harris. It's a bit of a sugar rush. Rob, if Rob isn't there, we can pass it to.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, boss.
My thing is, and I've been saying it. I said it 1,000 times on this platform, as many as others. My circle. Take care of my circle, and my circle is going to influence more circles.
Who is giving the most crumbs to your circle?
Can I really say what I want to say, bro?
Sure thing.
My man. Motherfucking nobody. We got to make it on our own, bro. We got to make it on our own. We gotta stop. We gotta stop relying on these political things. We gotta stop relying on. We gotta make it on ourselves. We gotta make it on our own.
Okay.
Language.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, the thing about it is, and this is the sad part about it, guys.
Nope. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm going to tell you why you're right. Why you're right. Every other community thrives no matter what the political party is in place. As people who come from lower income environments, because we all grew up with white people that were poor just like us, and minority environments, we don't have lobbyists that put our interests first. And this is my biggest frustration. Whenever you have Boeing or the aerospace industry, they lobby to make sure that the candidate that they want does what they want when they give them money. We're going to give you, $10 million. You need to do this for us. Whenever the Jewish lobby comes into play, whenever the pharmaceutical lobby comes into play, they say this is what we want you to do as a candidate before we give you our money. We don't do that. So we're swayed back and forth. And as a community, we don't have any power. And our vote is taken for granted. You know what they're telling us as a community? Vote for the girl who is ambiguously black and make history. And that's all you get. That is sad.
Vote for the person that's going to give me the best benefit on a return.
But there ain't no return on voting on a person's color in their gender, in their sex. Because that person could stand for something completely obverse to what you stand for. She's black. She's a person of color. She's not even really black. She's like 1/4 black. She's a female. Okay, that's good. Vote blue no matter who. I get it. But what are her policies? It does nothing to promote the black family. And I keep coming back to that. We're not asking anything of Donald Trump. And we're not asking anything of Kamala Harris. Our vote is taken for granted because they know we're stupid enough to vote for whatever. You get what I'm saying? So that's the problem that we're dealing with, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, give it away. Yeah, give it away.
And if I'm lying, I'm flying. Sorry, I get a little passionate. What else do you guys think about that?
No, I like that. And do not apologize for being passionate and truthful. Please don't. Because, I know I'm not trying to go off topic and segue, but like one of the things that really bothers me with Harris is she's still pushing the climate control solution, which is depopulation. To me, that's a sugar-coated way to say genocide. So when you talk about us in our community, do you think they would consider us less desirables?
Dude, listen, man. This is what keeps me up at night at 2:00 in the morning when I can't sleep. Her number one thing is abortions. I shouldn't have said that word. Is deleting children, right?
Yeah.
And she also has a very extreme policy towards population control. And there's too many people on the planet. She knows good and well that black women perform this medical procedure more than any woman on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on here? She knows that we're getting rid of our offspring more than any group of people in the world. And she has an agenda to lower the population for the sake of the environment. What in the world are we voting for? And that's things I'm not getting clarity on. And it makes me a little bit suspicious. Like, what are you doing?
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
I don't use the word hero very often, but you are the greatest hero in American history.
Why, thank you. But like I was saying, man, it's like, what are we voting? What is she getting our sisters to vote for? The right to do what?
Exactly, because
kill our future.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's definitely bigger than putting a black woman, for lack of better terms, in office or making history. When you talk about things of this magnitude, this is very, very serious. We're talking about lives on all ends, whether it's depopulation or abortions, and the other things that extend from these things. This is very, very serious. We're talking about life here.
I think I read a stat where it was like 1 in 3 black women have had that medical procedure, you know, and the population of Miami, Florida. Let me look that up real quick. But the population of Miami, if we take, you know, when Roe versus Wade was first, you know, created, it'd be the equivalent of the population of Miami, which is over 6 million people, if you average it out from time. 6 billion a year, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, most of a year.
That's crazy, y'all. And we're doing the most of these procedures, and it's
unbelievable, bro.
Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. And as I'm thinking about it, y'all got my head turning right now, and I'm like, what is the agenda behind all this? Y'all know I'm not a real big conspiracy guy, but it really has me starting to think like, what is? And you remember when the Supreme Court was trying to get rid of you know, child deletion, they started putting all these black women on TV, and they were saying they're coming after you. Like, this is the number one thing that we get you to vote for. Whenever you vote, this is the number one issue that we want that you respond to. They're taking away your rights as a black woman. I'm like, why do they keep talking about black women? They're the ones having these abortions.
Hey, Punch, can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Hey, DK, chime in.
Get a little bit closer to the mic, Rob. Sound like you're a little muffled, bro.
DK, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you
good, a little bit muffled. You got to get a little cleaner mic.
Okay, DK, can you hear me?
I can't hear you yet.
You got me, bro?
I got you.
Punch, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Blake, you got me?
I got you.
What else I need, bro? I'm good.
You saying as long as you got strong men to your left, to your right, you're good to go.
Yes.
I can dig that. And
Yeah.
I can respect that. Let's give him one of these.
I have spoken.
Now give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Try to tell you, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Well, I'll tell you this. If a certain candidate gets in there, it's gonna have to be about us, you know, being like the Three Musketeers and, you know, the Fantastic Four. We're gonna have to stick together. I think, to be honest, with either candidate, it's gonna present issues, you know. But
it doesn't matter who the candidate is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care who wins. We still got to have each other at the same time. It doesn't matter, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's what this channel is all about. And I encourage you guys to like, share, subscribe. YouTube got us at the bottom of that algorithm. We need you guys to like these videos and get this information out. But this is what we're about. We're about the brotherhood. And we're not all going to agree on everything. And I think this is our biggest weakness, is that we will never agree on this stuff to move forward, no matter who gets elected. You know, that's another issue to deal with. But at the same time, I think that it is important that we stand beside each other. We're beginning to kind of get to the tail end of the session here. Anybody got any last words?
Yeah, real quick before we get off, I just want to say this. Our vote is definitely important. No matter if we think or don't care about who wins, at the end of the day, whoever don't vote is just like supporting the other side. So I think it's definitely important that we take into consideration both sides of the party, everything else. But come November, I think this election is going to be huge, not for us, as far as black men, but for our women. You know what I mean? As I see it, me as a black man, it's not about what either side could do for me, because at the end of the day, as a man, whatever I want, I'm gonna get up and go get it. Whether, you know what I mean, that's just my mentality as a man. Whatever I want, I'm gonna get it. So I think it's not about us, it's more about, the other side, or our black women. So who brings more to the table for them.
It's about the women.
Young man, you You got me? You got my back, bro?
Yeah, I hear you.
You got me?
Yup.
Say less. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, and and I appreciate your honesty. You know what I mean, and I just say, whoever's watching this, just whoever you vote for, just vote for them because you want to vote for them. Don't vote for them because somebody else says you have to vote for them, and that's what I mean. So that's my take on it.
Anybody else? Last comments?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody on the panel to chime in, sharing their thoughts. This is definitely a good building process.
Anybody else?
You know?
Unless you have more, bro.
Yeah, I'm not going to be lengthy. Let somebody else go.
Real quick, when I say, let me reframe, I'm gonna reword that about the woman part. It ain't about the woman forever. It's just about these next 4 years. These next 4 years, the woman in America is a big topic. So I don't mean this. I mean, I ain't saying woman. I ain't saying it ain't all about women for forever. But whoever we decide, these next 4 years is definitely big.
Stop it. Get some help.
I ain't saying forever. I'm just saying though, we decide.
Stop it. Get some help.
Anybody else? Hey, man, we're a fraternity over here. God anointed men to be the heads of the household, to lead their families. Can we get some crumbs from a candidate? Does it have to be about the women and Beyonce and the Beehive all the time?
Kamala Harris ain't gonna stop you from being head of the household, so we ain't even gonna
stop it. Get some help.
She ain't stopping you from doing your job as a man. You can't say that. Come on now.
All right. So what we'll do, guys, we'll do an overtime. We'll stay on and we'll continue talking. And if it gets juicy, we'll record that too.
Let's go.
So
yeah, let's get it. I'm in the sports car, baby. Hit that engine. Let's go. All gas. Smash the pass.
Oh, it's good. Right. Father, we thank you for letting us get together and just having this conversation. Our boys are reading at a 4th grade level. Our men are more depressed and disenfranchised than any point in history. Even the testosterone is lower amongst men. Father, help us as men choose what's best for our families, choose what's best for our communities, and let us rise up and take this world for you, Lord. We pray that you give us the boldness, the decision-making, and the ability to see your truth. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, that is the show. We're going to stay on and talk a little bit more, but we won't be recording unless it gets a little juicy. But really appreciate you guys for coming in and hanging out with us at Cancel Kings. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.